Hi, what's up, y'all? It's poppin', it's D. Finally getting around to reacting to this video about What's the Dirt. This is Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, the 100% full story explained. I'm invested in this beef, okay? So we're gonna get, to the root and see where this all started and get all of the details and all of the tea. And side note, breaking news. Apparently, Kendrick may be gearing up to drop another diss track. So over on my Patreon, one of my patrons pointed out, shout out to you, that in the cover art for Euphoria, as one of the sample sentences for the definition of Euphoria, it says they had a week to recover from Euphoria. So he might be, dropping that gem in the cover art. And also on Euphoria, he raps about it. He said, try cease and desist on the Like That record. Oh, what, you ain't like that record? Back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to that for the record. That's on fire. I've listened to it so many times at this point. But so he probably was saying that he gonna get back to that, because he about to drop a diss track back to back. Well, I kept hearing that bar, and I thought that he was saying that he's gonna have as much of an impact as Drake had with his back-to-back diss track. That's what I thought he was saying, but then I was thinking like, that don't make sense. That would be him bigging up Drake a little too much by saying that. So I didn't know what he meant exactly by saying that. I'm going to get back to that for the record. I didn't know what he meant, but that might be what he means. We might be getting another diss track. Listen, I'm here for it. I'm ready. Anyway, in the meantime, let's see what's going on with these people and where the beef started. Let's watch.
Drake and Kendrick Lamar hate each other.
Oh.
Well, at least one of them hates the other person, while the other is trying many times.
He hates the way that he walked, the way that he talked. He hates the way that he dressed.
One rapper seemed to believe that they were actually friends, while the other looked at their relationship as a business transaction. After 2 weeks of research, it's safe to say that one MC has lost every ounce of respect for the other. You guys really liked my last video where I broke down all the subliminal disses from Drake's new album, so I decided to stick with a similar style. And in my last video, I asked you guys to hit the like button, which is something I don't usually do, but the video did really well.
Don't start now.
When it comes to Kendrick and Drake, they weren't always on bad terms. Back in 2011, Drake had already blown up, and Kendrick had yet to release a major debut album. Now, Kendrick was definitely buzzing, but he was far from the star that Drake was. Even back in 2009, Kendrick mentioned Drake on a track.
That's so funny, because Kendrick was really big in LA around that time. So that's wild that the rest of the world is like, oh yeah, he was still like pretty much undiscovered. Like nobody's really checking for him. It's like in LA, like he was massive. Everybody knew about him.
Pretty much admits that he thinks he's better.
Me and my girl split the bucket KFC. She listening to Drake, and all I can say, damn, is that much better than me, baby?
So Kendrick identified really early on that the mainstream hip-hop wasn't really his thing. However, on June 16, 2011, Kendrick performed in Toronto for the very first time, and when Drake found out he was in the city, he decided to hit him up so that they could meet.
I need y'all to know, it's my first motherfucking time out here, you dig?
And Kendrick would speak about meeting Drake in a XXL magazine and said, "That's a real good dude. He got a real genuine soul. We clicked immediately." And it was during that meeting that Kendrick provided Drake with a copy of his unreleased album, Section 80.
Visions of Martin Luther staring at me.
Kendrick said that Drake was the first person outside of his team to hear Section 80, and that Drake was blown away by the project. I even found a 2011 tweet where Drake posted Kendrick's lyrics from ADHD.
We never do this unless it comes with it anyway.
Drake liked Kendrick's music so much that he asked him to be on his upcoming sophomore album, Take Care. Throughout the track, Kendrick talks about meeting Drake for the first time and how he was surprised that Drake wasn't fake like most of the music business. Kendrick outlines how Drake showed him a taste of what being rich and famous actually looked like.
Sat down with a few drinks located where you can't see us. A white waitress on standby when we need her.
On the track, Kendrick really battles with the idea of becoming famous, as he's worried that it will change him for the worse.
Yeah, like, damn, this next level that I'm going to, will I get caught up in the lifestyle and would that make me or break me? And that was what the whole record was about when I did the interlude.
And I mean, even back then, we could see the difference in these two artists where
Their mentality.
Drake is talking about the Maybachs and his lavish life, and Kendrick is worried about his mental health and his, his relationships, his friendships. It's interesting because just 2 or 3 years later, the dude did get depressed from just being in the industry.
I didn't know you were suffering from depression the way you said you was on the album. Like,
Yeah.
Did the industry cause that?
Not the industry, just the change.
And Drake only continues to show Kendrick more love by taking him and A$AP Rocky on his Club Paradise tour.
This is my brother A$AP Rocky. This is my brother Kendrick Lamar.
Damn.
On this Club Paradise tour, matter of fact, my nigga Drake, TDE, high power in this.
Oh, I love cartoons and cereal.
Matter of fact, my nigga Drake, TDE, high power in this.
And Drake has always claimed to have fought with management to take these guys on tour because his label had other plans.
You know, it's people I can put on here that the label wants me to put on here, but I fight for this one reason, man. I fight to promote what I love. You know what I'm saying? I fight to promote the music that I truly love. So
Drake would mention this again in 2016 on his track 4 p.m. in Calabasas.
When they told me take an R&B nigga on the road, and I told them no and drew for Kendrick and Rocky.
However, Kendrick's superstardom quickly catches up with Drake, as a year later he dropped one of the best hip-hop albums of all time, Good Kid, Mad City.
I used to be jealous of him to follow. He was the one to follow.
And Black Boy Fly is a bonus track, but to me, that's one of the most beautiful songs on that album. Absolutely amazing storytelling. And it was on that album where Drake returns the favor and gives Kendrick a feature on Poetic Justice.
I really hope you play this, cause oh girl, you test my patience.
And on the day that the album dropped,
they
Drake
made good
even
music
posted
together.
a tweet saying, "Congratulations to Kendrick, incredible body of work, honored to be a part of it." However, even at this point, Kendrick and Drake couldn't be more different in terms of how they approach music and life in general.
Really, money really don't make me. I'm learning that now. You know, that's not really my peace of mind, having money.
I love Electra Chung's shoulders.
You love the shoulders?
I just love her shoulders.
She's actually blushing as well. She's
No doubt about it, they're just two different guys. Next, we get a bit of an inside look on how Kendrick actually sees Drake as a person when the legend himself, DMX, claims that he would love to beat Drake up.
Man, I wish it was like maybe 7 years ago, or maybe like 10 years ago.
He hated
catch to beat him up.
And just a few days later, Kendrick was asked about his thoughts on DMX's rant, and he thought it was hilarious, saying that his entire tour bus nearly died of laughter.
I'm wondering why these niggas in the front of the bus just cracking up, like hitting walls and shit, just crying. I'm like, what you niggas talking about? They mute, they stop laughing, right? I just hear X going off on a laptop, just massive. I'm like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, he's going in right now.
Now remember, Drake is pretty sensitive, so if he did see that, he probably felt a way about it. So the two would work together for the very last time on one of 2013's biggest hits, A$AP Rocky's Problems.
Girl, I know you want
Big dick. Girl, I'm Kendrick Lamar, aka Business or Business they call.
You never see these two on a track.
Damn, they made some great music
In
together.
2013, things started to get a lot more competitive between the two.
This is so bittersweet because we won't get music from these people together. We won't get any collabs. This sucks.
Because at this point, Kendrick was not just an up-and-comer, he had become that guy.
Getting a lot of accolades from your peers and the hip-hop icons.
Thank
You know,
I love Kendrick Lamar.
Number one on that list, Kendrick Lamar, what's up?
the hip-hop savior, it seems like. Woo!
And let's not forget, Drake is still Drake. He had a phenomenal year also.
Shout out to Hamilton, shout out to Toronto one time. Best rap album goes, and they said take care of it. Oh my God!
Given the success of both artists, the media and fans started to debate who was better, and Kendrick started off the year with a bang when he was awarded MTV's hottest MC in hip-hop.
Yeah, we went through about 15 of them, narrowed it down to 10. The 10 became 5, the 5 became 2.
And you, Kendrick
Top
Lamar,
two
are
and it
the
ain't
hottest
two.
MC in the game, according to the MTV brain.
And most of Kendrick's hip-hop friends seem to be happy for him.
I heard you're not happy about that.
Nah, I wasn't until I found out who's number one. They made my man number one, K-Dot.
Yes.
Drake, so I'm straight with that.
However, Drake was one person that certainly did
Salty.
not send any sort of congratulations to Kendrick.
What about your rap peers? Did they call? I know it's kind of competitive, so did they say congratulations?
My rap peers,
So,
he cold.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it.
And I mean, at this point, Drake's at least got to be thinking, like, this guy's starting to become a problem. He's
Cole was glad
getting
from
a
the
little
start.
bit closer. And Kendrick's winning streak was just beginning, as 2 months later, he cleaned up at the 2013 BET Awards, winning the Best Male Hip Hop Artist over Drake.
I came up in that same county building, food stamps, welfare, Section 8.
And this time, I did find a tweet from Drake where he
shit?
congratulates Kendrick
Oh,
on
okay.
the win. Congrats
Okay.
to Kendrick as well. Nothing was the same. With all that said, things were about to change.
Oh, yeah, with Control.
August 12th, 2013.
Why did he take
was a
this so
special
personal?
moment for hip-hop. To this day, it still stands out as one of the most exciting things to happen in the last decade. On Big Sean's Control, Kendrick let everyone in hip-hop know just how competitive he was when it came to that #1 spot.
I'm usually on boys with the same cause I'm rhyming with, but this is hip hop and they should know what time it is. And that goes for Jamaica, Big Crit Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mills, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, Jay Electron.
He literally named
I
everybody.
got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder niggas, trying to make sure.
And he even was showing love. Like, I don't understand why Drake was so offended by this. Like, he named everybody and he said he had love for all y'all.
Your core fans never heard of you niggas. They don't want to hear not one more now no verb from you niggas.
And we could really, really use a moment like that right now in hip-hop.
It's rain like it's Mayweather, good music, yay weather, champagne just tastes better.
And let's just
Big
give it up
Sean.
for Big Sean, because to me, he had one of his career best verses, but it just got
Nobody
overshadowed
cared,
because of
yeah.
Kendrick's verse.
Exactly.
I said fuck trying and not doing, cause not doing is something a nigga not doing. I grew up in big and pop, and got ruined. So until I got the same crib, big head in that juicy vid, bitch, I can't stop moving.
But when it came,
Listen, Big Sean he's just not appreciated enough. He has so many fire verses, but I just feel like people don't ever include him in the conversation of like some of the best rappers. And obviously there are people who are way better than him. I'm aware of that, but I still feel like he's such a great rapper and people just kind of act like he was irrelevant.
the Kendrick's verse, nobody that he mentioned had a problem with it.
K-Dot and them niggas, that's fam, yo. I think hip-hop need this shit, man,
You know, I knew what it was for hip hop culture. I knew how important it was.
He said my name, like he said a couple people's name, and he said he's the best rapper. I say I'm the best rapper every
Exactly.
song.
Yeah, but he wasn't coming at him in that disrespectful way. He's coming at him in that competitive way.
So for me, it's one of the things where I appreciate. I didn't take it this serious.
Damn, where Crit at?
Hip hop is competitive.
I like him
am
music
competitive.
too.
Wait, sorry. Nobody had a problem except for Drake.
I just I don't know, it just wasn't real to me. It's like, I saw him after that, and it was just like love. So it's like, was that real, or was that just like for the people? You know what I mean? Like,
What do you mean, is it real? Do you lack English comprehension? He said that he loved all of y'all, but he wants to be the best. What do you mean? Why are you trying to show me love in person? He didn't say fuck y'all niggas. Like, I don't fuck with none. He wasn't disrespectful at all. Like, I don't understand what Drake didn't get about that.
Sparring kind of sports.
yeah, but
you're not
at the
into
same
that.
time, it's like, then let it be real then, I mean,
What?
those were harsh words, right? So it's like, you can't
Harsh?
just say that and then see me and be like, yeah, man, what's up? Pretending like nothing ever happened. Like, that's not real.
And this right here is a perfectly good
That's
example
so lame.
of why people call Drake soft and emotional.
Exactly.
You can't
'Cause what are
act
you
this way
talking about?
and then sit back and wonder why people are labeling you as such. Like, this is why. And it's interesting because when Drake came into the game, he seemed to understand that competition came with the genre.
It's a great
thing, though, to be
competitive with those guys, because you're always pushing yourself. I mean,
And look, Drake was not a rapper that you could just push around. He did go toe-to-toe with people before, Back in the day, a Toronto rapper by the name of Aristo seriously tried to end Drake's career, and it didn't end well for this guy.
Not the Canadian beat.
Resolution, I'm finishing it in here. If I copy buttons flow, you mimicking his career.
It was good riddance. It was lights out. It was a body, and that's what it was, man. And that's why good riddance. And what happened?
Good riddance.
Good riddance, right? Bye.
I remember when this dropped because it was all over the hip-hop blogs in Canada. And yeah, we did have hip-hop blogs in Canada in 2009. They did exist. With all that said, Drake dropped Nothing Was the Same, and we get to hear the first subliminal shot for Kendrick. On the track titled The Language, Drake immediately starts out with a shot.
I don't know why they been lying,
but your shit is not that inspiring.
So when Kendrick's control first dropped, Drake stated on multiple
he was talking about Kenny right there. I love that song.
occasions that he did not find the verse impressive, that he thought it was for shock value, and that it would soon be forgotten.
But it was real cool for like, you know, a couple weeks. But like, if I asked you, for example, like, how does that verse start?
That's irrelevant. It's about the
Drake's
impact.
more notable
That's what
claim
matters.
is that Kendrick had a great first album, but he questioned whether or not he could do it again.
And as far as Kendrick goes, like, I can't wait to see what he does, because now it's time to show and prove. And consistency it's been one album. Consistency is like, you need more than one album, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's time to show and prove it.
Drake claimed that he was all about putting out memorable bodies of work as opposed to creating moments.
When it comes to competition, I'm more worried about consistency. I'm more worried about bodies of work.
However, Drake continues to send some more shots.
Okay, nigga that's talking that shit just to get a reaction.
Again, Drake refers to Kendrick as someone that wrote the control verse to get attention.
I am the kid with the motor mouth.
I am the one you should worry about.
A motor mouth is defined as a
We
person
know.
who talks quickly and continuously,
Why is he breaking this
often
down?
without considering what they're saying. In this case, someone that raps fast. Is clearly about Kendrick.
Talking that shit with your back to me, just
No, it always get back to me.
So outside of the DMX comment, there were some other interviews where Kendrick had laughed at Drake's expense.
I heard about you touring with Drake. I was like, that's dope, that's dope. And I was like, well, I hope it doesn't hang with Drake too hard, because Drake isn't exactly doing what we thought he would, what many of nerdy backpackers like myself thought he might be doing a few years ago.
Right.
And honestly, man, at this point,
He
I
just
would not be
listening.
one bit surprised if Kendrick said something behind Drake's back and it got back to him. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all. At the 2013 BET Hip Hop Awards, Kendrick decided to throw some gas on the fire. He went into the awards with the most nominations at 14, and Drake was a very close second with 13. However, Kendrick would be the man to come out on top, winning Lyricist of the Year, MVP of the Year, Album of the Year, and Feature of the Year. Drake also came out with a handful of awards for Best Hip Hop Video, Track of the Year, and People's Champ. However, it would be Kendrick again that stole the show.
Yeah, and nothing been the same since they dropped control and cut the sense of the rapper back in his pajama clothes. Ha ha, jokes on you, high five. I'm bulletproof, your shots will never penetrate. Pin a tail on a donkey, boy, you benefit.
So, pretty self-explanatory.
Okay,
Kendrick uses
yes.
Drake's album title Nothing Was the Same to call him out for being sensitive regarding
Not
the
in
control
his pajama
verse.
clothes.
And this whole thing got a lot.
I vaguely remember that, but I don't remember the details of what was said. So, definitely refreshing my memory.
Of people excited, and just the very next day,
Oh, it's up
Sway
now.
asked Kendrick if the bars were meant for Drake.
Was
What he
people want to
say?
know, was that directed towards Drake or anybody in particular?
Looks good, look cute.
Just us having fun as usual.
Uh-huh.
But Drake did not seem to think so, and just a few weeks
Nah,
later,
it ain't fun no more.
he came with some more subliminal shots on a future track titled Shit. And that's the name of the song, Shit. But
I've never
I
heard
always
that.
like this record.
Took niggas out the hood like I'm from there. So you know it's all good when I come there. I hear you talk about your city like you run there. Then I brought my tour to your city, you my son there, nigga.
And to me, this is one of the best subliminal shots of the whole saga. Like, Drake sounds
You
like
know
Jay-
what? When Drake is taking these shots at people, it's so hard to pinpoint who he's talking about unless you have all of this backstory. Unless you keeping up with all of these small little details. Because it's like he could be talking about anybody, you know? Like, you could be taking a shot at any rapper. So a lot of the time when I would hear these slick comments that Drake would make in these songs, I would think he was just talking shit. And it's like, this aimed at all y'all niggas. I thought he was just speaking in general. Like, I'm the best. And yeah, I kill in your city, your city, your city. But no, whole time, this nigga taking direct shots at Kendrick.
Jay-Z here. It's a very Hove-like thing to say where he's just completely sunning Kendrick. So it's been known that Kendrick puts on heavy for the West Coast, claiming that he's the king, but Drake refers to him as his son because Kendrick went on his first big tour with Drake, and of course they had some shows in California. At the time, even Kendrick admitted that he was not used to these large crowds.
The transition of me doing the 2,000 venues I've been doing back then is a little sketchy for me doing this 10,000. I gotta really work magic.
I even found a Kendrick tweet from 2012 when he was on tour with Drake, where he says, "Finally home, LA, Club Paradise, let's see what happens tonight."
And if a nigga say my name, he the hot shit. But if I say that nigga name, he said the hot shit.
So this one clearly a reference to Kendrick's Control verse. A lot of MCs responded to Kendrick with a verse of their own. And Drake is basically claiming that, given the fact that he's a bigger artist, if he says Kendrick's name, he's just doing him a favor. And this next one's not even a diss. I just want to show you guys my favorite line from the song.
And niggas ain't got a grill, still ice grill hating. I know you already know Mike Will made it. Just looking at the numbers, nigga, I feel amazing. I'll call Michael Jordan up and Mike Will make it. I'm a young rat.
You know, he just signed a deal with Jordan. Mike Will make it. Shit's fine.
No, that was hard. That was hard.
Just a few days later, an issue.
Look, Drake is a great rapper. Don't misunderstand shit. I'm very clear in saying that Drake has contributed heavy to hip hop, and he is a great rapper. So nobody can downplay that. And if you do try to downplay it, you are a hater because he can rap. Nobody is saying he can't rap.
And Drake talks about Kendrick again, stating how he didn't like how the Control verse messed with the rollout of his album. Where it became an issue is that I was rolling out an album while that verse was still bubbling. So my album rollout became about this thing. Drake then continues to position himself as someone that is above anything that Kendrick has to say. He's hungry, so he's going to do what he has to do, like the BET cypher, but again, it's not enough for me to go. I have to realize I'm being baited, and I'm not going to fall. Jordan doesn't have to play pickup to prove that he can play ball. No offense. Now, at this point in the story, we're about to witness one of the biggest upsets in Grammy history. At the 56th Annual Grammy Awards, Kendrick lost the Hip Hop Album of the Year to Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. Rightfully so, people were outraged.
Macklemore and Ryan Lewis.
All you gotta do is look at Pharrell's face, because it says it all.
It's cringe that
he's
he
just trying to get off the
Kendrick
stage
Lamar
as quickly as possible. Like, why did they get me to do this? And Macklemore, feeling the heat, decided to text Kendrick afterwards and say that he felt he should have won and that he got robbed. And it would have been a nice gesture if he didn't take a screenshot of the text and post it on social media for everyone to see. And just a month later, Drake gave his 2 cents in a Rolling Stone interview. You won. Why are you posting your text message? Just chill. Take your W, and if you feel like you didn't deserve it, go get better, make better music.
Agreed.
It felt cheap. It didn't feel genuine. Why do that? Why feel guilt? You think those guys would pay homage to you if they won? To name just Kendrick? That shit made me feel funny. No, in that case, you robbed everybody. We all need text messages. You guys tell me, does Drake seem like he's defending Kendrick in this article?
He's not.
Or does it seem like he's salty because he's not in the mix? At
salty.
This point, the feud dies down for about 8 months, and Drake even had some very kind words for Kendrick at his OVO Fest when he brought out J. Cole.
And while you all got your phones out, I want to shout out my nigga.
This man used to be so fine. No shade. J. Cole used to be so fine. But, you know, he just let himself go. But, whatever. But, man, this man was fine. Oh, what was he saying? Sorry, I was distracted.
And while you all got your phones out, I want to shout out my nigga Kendrick Lamar.
Oh. Okay. You know what the fuck happened? Cole gave him a pep talk backstage, like, we need to stick together. We all in this together. We the big three. He was talking about the big three back then, all right? He like, hey, fuck all that petty shit y'all got going on. We brothers. We brothers out here. Now that positivity was rubbing off on Drake right here. I could feel it.
That's one of the hardest niggas alive right there.
Because how you go from saying that other shit before to this, that it seems very fake. So I'm hoping that's what took place. He was just, energized by the motivational speech that Cole gave him prior to walking on stage. Because what? Everything you were saying prior and then you get on stage and say this is why niggas call you fake. This is fake.
However, it looks like Kendrick did not get the message, as just 2 months later, he responds to Drake's Motormouth line on a J-Rock track titled Pay For It.
I tell them all the hell, King Kendrick, resurrecting my vengeance, been dissecting your Motormouth till I break down the engine.
Clearly a response to Drake's Subliminal on the language. Again, Kendrick inserts himself as the king, and he doesn't seem to think that Drake can go to
that was Drake's apology. He pulled a Cole back then. Obviously, he didn't apologize, but I feel like he was trying to make amends. And Kendrick was like, actually, nah, fuck all that. What was you saying earlier?
Distance with him. And it will be just 2 weeks later where Kendrick gets asked about this alleged diss.
A lot of rumors are with the Drake thing. Like, did you really bring the Drake thing back with the J-Rock single, or what's that about?
What? I ain't
the Drake feud. Or
look at him going.
Damn, man.
No,
Disgusting.
I think that's people digging in. That's people digging in way too far.
Once again, we're all reaching, and it's not about Drake. And just a few days later, Kendrick would get asked about his now year-old Control verse, and this time he said that all the people that mattered understood it, and for the people who didn't, they don't matter.
The people that respected, was people that knew the deal.
Yeah.
Was the important people that respected and knew what it was, and people that don't respect it, obviously they just people that don't get it, and really didn't matter.
And again, Kendrick claims that the chances of seeing him and Drake go head-to-head is slim to none because they're two different artists.
It's just a whole nother dynamic. I can't see myself going bar for bar with Drake.
It's an
we're
age
two
well.
different type of artists.
You ain't Drake. I've argued that.
And I honestly feel like this is just Kendrick downplaying Drake as not being on his level. I don't think he respects Drake. I don't think
He's always felt this way. This reminds me of the bar where he talked about how his homie told him to aim the Draco down. And that's what he's saying he got to do. I got to aim down. I got to aim the Draco down at you, Drake, because you beneath me. While Drake all these years been trying to make it seem like Kendrick is beneath him, maybe he is popularity-wise, but that's not what the fuck matters. Okay? Kendrick is like, okay, in the scope of what matters, you're beneath me because my skill is up here and yours is not that good. You down here. And I also thought that was such a dope bar because Drake dissed Kendrick for being short. You're so little, you're short or whatever the case. And he like, I'm shorter than you, but I'm really not because I'm up here and you down there and I got to aim down at you. You feel me? Listen.
really ever respected Drake.
This shit get deep.
And there's some underlying meaning behind this when he keeps saying it.
Would Drake be somebody you would like to have some fun with?
Nah, I couldn't. We come from two different worlds, two different backgrounds. I really don't see that playing out, as entertaining. Maybe to, the people listening, but not for myself.
Keep in mind, Kendrick was classified as the savior of hip-hop. He was embraced by everyone just for the art, whereas someone like Drake really had to go to distance to prove himself. And even then, he could never win over the fans that admired a certain level of lyricism. Many consider Drake to be a pop star, and I feel like Kendrick is saying this without really saying it.
Just hold on,
However,
great music,
next
though.
Drake drops his surprise
that away from this
mixtape,
man.
If You're Reading This Is Too Late, and on that project, he had some more shots for Kendrick.
They gon' say your name on them airwaves. They gon' hit you up right after like a Sony rap.
So Drake had claimed previously that he saw Kendrick just 5 days after the Control verse, and it was all love.
I know that verse had no malice behind it because I saw him 5 days later at the VMAs and it was all love.
And at this
he said it, dummy. He said there was no malice. He said he loved all y'all. So duh. Are we slow, Drake?
Drake was the talk of the town because this surprise
Why you
project made a
saying
big
that?
splash. So just a few weeks later, Kendrick decided to shake things up and finally dropped his long-awaited album by surprise as well.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I've been...
Naturally, fans and the media pitted the two albums against each other. Kendrick, bruh, how do you let Drake drop a mixtape that goes harder
That
than your
mixtape is
album?
hard,
A
can't
freaking
lie.
mixtape. Not gonna compare Drake and Kendrick anymore because they're not even playing the same sport right now. Kendrick is in his own league. And comparing these projects makes zero sense. It's apples to
very
oranges. Drake's project was great for club DJs, gym playlist, cruising.
Very
in the
good for
car,
gym playlist.
Whereas Kendrick's album touched on real world issues, was
And see, I've always said that. I've always admitted that I listen to Drake way more than Kendrick. I always have. Although Kendrick has a lot of bangers. Do not get me wrong. A lot. But as far as the music that I'm personally interested in, I do lean more towards Drake because I'm usually listening to music when I am in the gym, when I'm getting ready to go out, when I'm in my car trying to get hype. And that's the music that Drake makes. So naturally, and he makes great like music like that, okay? Very good mainstream music. I mean, he has some that's not mainstream, but the point is he makes a lot of mainstream music. So, yeah.
during protest and is looked at today as one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all
They're
time.
different. But yeah, this song was
However,
super
Drake
impactful.
wasn't done as he let another one go on the Game's track 100.
I would have all of your fans if I didn't go poppin'. I stayed on some conscious shit.
Again, Kendrick had just released To Pimp a Butterfly, his most conscious album to date, and Drake is basically saying that he could do that style if he wanted, but he's on a different mission with his music. Also important to note, the video for this track was filmed in Compton. So Drake is saying all this while in Kendrick City.
I'm in the club every time that they play the competition. If they even play the competition, then I seen the response they get.
Now, the Game was asked about this, and he
The
didn't
Game
seem
is
to
a-
think it was a shot at Kendrick, but he also didn't count it out.
The Game is a hood hopper.
However, one of the worst things to be exposed for as a rapper was about to happen to Drake.
Go for it. Yeah.
On July 22nd, 2015, Meek Mill took to Twitter to expose Drake for having ghostwriters.
10 bands, 50 bands, 100 bands, man.
I
This
can
is not
remember
even
having a
discussing, man.
conversation
Oh.
with my little brother on the phone, and we were both saying, like, there's no way. There's no way that Drake has ghostwriters because
y'all were in denial.
he's too good of a writer himself. It just doesn't make sense. But boy, were we wrong.
Okay, 10 bands, 50 bands, 100 bands, man.
Did you hear the reference tracks? Line for line, word for word. This is bad.
Quentin Miller was that guy, okay? He was
Shortly
nice with the
after
pen.
Meek's tweets, the reference tracks would leak to support the ghostwriter allegations, and now we get back to Kendrick, who just a few months earlier made reference to rappers with ghostwriters on his single King Kunta.
Let a rapper with a ghostwriter. What the fuck happened? Oh no! I swore I went down.
So basically, Kendrick found out about this ghostwriting shit months before we did, and months before it even got exposed. And Kendrick is basically saying, like, I know what you've been up to, buddy. I'm not gonna say anything, but I know. With all that said, as everyone knows, Drake responded to Meek Mill with a now legendary diss record back to back. And being a day one Drake fan, for me personally, I was never more proud of Drake in his whole entire career than when he dropped back to back.
The new record, back to back, tough tune, tough tune.
But once again, Kendrick responds to Drake just 1 month later on Dr. Dre's Compton album.
But still I got enemies giving me energy, I don't wanna fight now. Subliminal sending me all of this hate, I thought I was holding the mic down.
In this one, Kendrick references Drake's recent track, Enemies.
Oh, energy.
Got enemies, got
A lot of enemies. Got a lot of
Kendrick
people
is once
trying to
again talking
energy.
about how Drake keeps going the subliminal route, which at the end of the day is really no different from what he's doing, but he didn't stop there as he did it again on another song from the same album.
They liable to bury him, they nominated 6 to carry him. The beef is on his birth inherited, the drummer better than the great white. This is life in my aquarium.
The words "they nominated 6 to carry him" could potentially be a Drake reference,
Could be
given
the
the fact
six.
that Toronto is referred to as the Six. And if this is the case, Kendrick is basically saying that everyone seems to think that Drake is his greatest opponent, but that he's a great white and that this is his aquarium, aka he's the king of hip hop.
Did you ever look back on any and feel like you'd like to change any of the things that you've written, or
It'll be me saying I want to go deeper. I should have went deeper. You know, I shouldn't have held back.
And at this point, Kendrick finally gets his well-deserved moment at the Grammys, winning 5 awards, but more importantly, he finally clinched the Best Rap Album category with To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh, glory to God, that's for sure.
Drake also racked up a bunch of accolades in 2015. If you're reading this, it's too late. Broke Spotify's record for 17.3 million streams in its first week. Hotline Bling had dominated the charts. And his collaborative album with Future also did crazy numbers. And I mean, even at this point, anything Drake touches is gonna do numbers. Next, we get some inside information that this situation between Drake and Kendrick could have got really ugly. Former NFL player turned commentator Marcellus Wiley wouldn't say any names, but said that years earlier he interviewed one of the two rappers and it completely went off on the other.
The Drake-Kendrick beef, when it was really starting to brew. Yeah, I was on Sports Nation at the time, and we taped the interview with one of the people, and that one person went in on the other person. And we were ready to let this go, but then that one person's team made sure that didn't get out. So.
Marcellus was quoted in a DJ Vlad interview as saying that the person went so hard in this interview that it could have brought the beef to the heights of 50 Cent and Ja Rule. And you gotta keep in mind, Marcellus is trying to sell a book, and he claimed that in this book, he would expose everything that was said and who said it. And I bought the book. I spent the $13.99. I didn't read it. I searched it. And here's what he had to say. We even got Drake on tape talking
I told you, I fucking knew it was him.
shit about Kendrick during an interview. Of course, after watching the interview, Drake's publicist wouldn't let us air that tape, but we still got it. Take my word for it. So that's it. That is the big expose. Like, I too was cheated, hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray by Marcellus Wiley. Now, we need to take any self-promotion tactics with a grain of salt, but the date surrounding this thing is very interesting. Kendrick drops the Control verse on August 12, 2013. In a Hot 97 interview on September 24th, Drake was very bitter, and the very next day, September 25th, Drake appears on ESPN. And you guys can tell me what you think, but to me, I believe this story. I believe that Drake did this, 100%.
I personally enjoy making like great music and bodies of work over like being the talk of Twitter for like 5 days, you know.
However, in 2016, one man dominated the charts, and that was Drake, smashing record after record, pumping out hit after hit. Views sold 1 million in its first week and went on to become quadruple platinum that year. He had several #1 records, such as Work with Rihanna, For Free with DJ Khaled, and One Dance with WizKid. One Dance actually became Spotify's most streamed song ever, and Spotify also announced that Drake was the most streamed artist of 2016. Basically, in 2016, Drake just dominated. And speaking of For Free by DJ Khaled, Drake actually mentioned Kendrick on that song.
You know this dick ain't free.
Again, this appears to be more of a friendly nod to Kendrick, where Drake is referencing his song, which is also called For Free.
This dick ain't free.
However, 2017 was about to start, and Kendrick was about to take some of the most direct shots at Drake to date.
Tiptoeing around my name, nigga, your name, and when I get at you, homie, don't you tell me you were just playing.
What's most interesting about this track in particular is the timing of when Kendrick put it out. Drake had just dropped his project More Life, which was mostly a happy-go-lucky summer vibe that contained no shots at Kendrick whatsoever. And just a few days later, Kendrick drops this surprise, aggressive 116-bar track that is full of shots at Drake.
Kendrick kept reigniting his beef. I'm done.
It's no secret that Drake has claimed to be somewhere on this top 5 list, but more recently...
It's so interesting that I've been bopping to some of these songs and not knowing what the fuck they were talking about. Well, not knowing who they were talking about. Whole time they was taking shots at each other and I didn't know.
More Life, he claimed that he was #1 on that list.
I know I said top 5, but I'm top
2 and I'm not 2 and I got 1, but you have 1, but it's not me.
So let me get this straight. Kendrick hears this track, gets the pen out, jumps in the booth, and sends a clear message just a few days after Drake drops that he's the best rapper alive.
Oh, Jay-Z, Hall of Fame, sit your punk ass down.
Drake's been known to draw comparisons between himself and Hov, so it only makes sense that this shot was directed at Drake.
I used to want to be on Rockefeller, then I turned into Jay.
Lastly, Kendrick ends off the track to surprise fans and warn Drake that he's got a new album coming in a few weeks.
You know what time it is, Annie up, this is him forever. Y'all got to label the 7 to get your shit together.
Kendrick was really strategic in releasing this track as it took most of the attention off Drake's project. And to add insult to injury, his fans flocked to Drake's Instagram account and spammed the number 4 in Roman numerals.
Y'all be making shit worse.
True to his word, he drops the album, and he has some more shots for Drake.
Niggas wanna flex on me and be in LA for free, huh? Next time they hit the 10 freeway, we need receipt, huh?
Kendrick references Drake's track For Free, and although Drake is from Toronto, he's lived in Calabasas since 2012. With that said, Kendrick is more than likely talking about how Drake was in Compton while shooting the video for 100. Kendrick is from Compton, probably didn't like it.
Most of y'all throw rocks and try to hide your hand. Just say his name and I promise that you'll see Candyman.
At this point, Kendrick is begging Drake to just call him out. He makes a reference to a popular 90s movie, Candyman, where the premise of that movie is if you say Candyman's name 5 times, he'll come kill you. Kendrick is basically saying, if you say my name, your career is dead. And I think Kendrick has something on Drake. Something scathing, something that Drake doesn't want to see exposed.
And we might fucking get it. I'm counting down the days. We might get it with this back-to-back diss track.
Already seen Drake a couple times now try to dead this thing. There's more coming. But yeah, Kendrick keeps going. And Kendrick seemingly mocks Drake's style of music on his song God.
You feel some type of way, then
There's nobody gonna tell me that he's not mocking Drake here because Kendrick doesn't usually sound like this. This is Drake.
He doesn't sound like that.
Next we hear Kendrick on Future's smash hit Mask Off, and this one is a very direct response to one of Drake's shots.
Plan 'em. Gotta look at self and ask what happened. How y'all let a conscious nigga go commercial while only making conscious sounds?
Very clearly a response to Drake's claims on 100 when he claimed that he could take all of Kendrick's fans if he were to pursue the conscious hip-hop lane.
And I stayed on some conscious shit.
But Kendrick had proven time and time again that he could have commercial success and be conscious at the same time. At this point, he had 3 cohesive projects under
That's what makes him and Cole so special, because they are able to do that.
belt, all of which were extremely successful.
I'm African American. I'm African. I'm black as the moon. Heritage of a small village, part of my residence.
Kendrick had also proved that he could easily navigate the pop music lane, having massively successful features with artists like Taylor Swift.
We was OG like DLC, remember that?
And again, when you listen to that track, he's not compromising his sound. Like he's still rapping, and it's all bars. Now, I'm sure none of you forgot about Drake's Ghostwriter claims, and Kendrick didn't forget either. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Kendrick gave his 2 cents on the situation. It depends what arena you're putting yourself in. I called myself the best rapper. I cannot call myself the best rapper if I have a ghostwriter. If you're saying you're a different type of artist and you don't really care about the art form of being the best rapper, then so be it. Make great music, but the title, it won't be there.
That is very
And no matter
valid.
how you slice it, the dude is not wrong. To
Right.
be the best rapper, you
gotta
need to
write
write
your own
your
shit.
bars. I would be lying if I said that when I found out that Drake had ghostwriters that I didn't look at his music differently.
I didn't care.
I still listen to his music, but even now, when he says something dope, I got this...
I didn't personally care as a listener of Drake. I didn't care at all. But what Kendrick is saying is very true. So it is odd when Drake makes certain comments that, oh, I'm top 2 when I'm not 2. It's like, yeah, but you up there with all your ghostwriters. So is that fair to everybody else? No. So you can't really boast about, being the best when you have other people assisting you and propping you up with their writing.
This little voice in the back of my head that says, yeah, it's dope, but did he write it?
Exactly.
However, Drake attempts to keep it friendly again by tipping his hat to Kendrick when Damn outsold More Life by over 100,000 copies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Amazing to see our music moving. A fan had also commented, get Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole on the same record, and Drake liked the comment.
Oh,
now, I hope at this
never
point
get
you guys
that.
can see the theme of Drake trying to squash it. And
He
Kendrick
is.
seemingly
I will
responds-
give Drake that. Although he was being very emotional multiple times and he was on some bitch shit, he does seem like he kept trying to squash it and just move on. And Kendrick was not letting it go.
to Drake's
all.
praise on his track All the Stars with SZA.
Fuck you and all your expectations. I don't even want your congratulations.
Kendrick is not trying to hear it. Just save the bullshit.
Oh, you a boy, you the moral to the story. You endorsing what I don't even like you.
Damn, you
I
talking about
don't even like
him?
it, bro. Which is true. However, on the exact same day, Drake drops a track with some of his most obvious shots to
they was
date.
all speaking in
Diplomatic
general.
immunity.
They try to compare us, but like a job straight out of high school, there's no you and I. I taught you everything you know, now you got student pride.
Drake does not like the Kendrick comparisons, and he brings it back to when he helped Kendrick with his career early on. What makes this clearly about Kendrick is the No You and I line, which were both tracks from Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly. The two would then go head-to-head at the 2018 Billboard Awards. Many questioned who would be crowned as Rapper of the Year, and once again, Kendrick came out drastically ahead. And yet again, Drake attempts to be friendly by sharing some old Twitter DMs between himself and Kendrick. Yo, my man, what's the word? Finishing my project, Section 80. When you back in Cali? I know that shit'll be incredible. We gotta do something for real. I'll be back for BET Awards this month. And this could be one of two things, really.
Or you
Drake
could be being shady, honestly. Because
could be saying, look, man, we used to be cool. Like, remember?
No, he
Can
kinda
we get
being
back
shady.
to that? Or he could be just
You
throwing
want
this
it on your
back in
album.
Kendrick's face again that he's the one that gave him a start and, like,
Yeah.
I put you on, remember? Regardless of the
Yeah, he probably
reasoning,
should.
Drake still had another subliminal for Kendrick on Sandra's Rose.
Bury me and I'll be born again. I walk in godly form amongst the mortal men.
Again, Drake makes reference to another track from To Pimp a Butterfly
Oh.
with the words Mortal Men. In this one, Drake continues to insert himself as being a caliber above Kendrick.
But I don't know. I'm no mortal man.
And Drake ends off the year with even more compliments for Kendrick in a Rap Radar.
Nigga, pick a
I have a
side.
lot of respect for him.
No. Pick a side. Do you want to make up or no?
The two guys that I'm
I can't respect this.
constantly, up against, which is like Cole and Kendrick.
Three-headed monster.
Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for those guys because they also continue to, stay true to what we started with, and finding new ways to do it.
However, things go quiet in 2020. Keep in mind, Kendrick wasn't releasing any music, and fans
Who's
started to
African
question if the feud was over.
I don't think that the Drake-Kendrick tension is dead. I think that
Y'all
last
be knowing.
decade, they fought as long as they could fought, and the decade ended without us having a decisive winner. And I don't think either of them have gotten off of that.
And people call Joe crazy all the time, but Joe Budden is right about a lot of shit. He is. And while Kendrick has gone ghost, nowhere to be found, Drake completely dominated the music business. I'm talking about Oprah's Bank Account, Tootsie Slide, Nonstop, In My Feelings, God's Plan, Nice for What, Pop Star, Life is Good, Chicago Freestyle, Laugh Now, Cry Later.
Some of these are fire.
This is just undeniable. Like, there's no other artist on earth who is doing this except for Drake. However, in 2021, the boogeyman himself, Kendrick Lamar, rises from the dead and has some shots for Drake on Family Ties with Baby Keem.
Oh, which bar?
On your top 5.
Oh, yeah.
9.
Again, he's firing back at Drake's now overstated top 5 claims.
Top 5, no debating. Top 5.
And Kendrick would continue on to address
Amazing,
Drake's
brother.
claims about being
Pop
the
out
GOAT.
only on occasion, brother.
At the end of the track, Baby Keem seemingly reveals that Drake has been DMing his girl.
What?
That's cool, that's why.
However, just a month later, Drake would reply to Kendrick again on his song No Friends in the Industry.
Not them calling him That's funny, dude. Drake is always saying top 2, I'm not 2. And Baby Keem like, anyway, number 2. Kendrick is on what? Number 2. DMing my bitch. What? That is random. Drake is just trifling.
And I make shit about the numbers, all I know.
Drake knows at this point.
Wait, what he said? Sorry.
Again on his song No Friends in the Industry.
Great song.
Then I make shit about the numbers, all I know.
Drake knows at this point when it comes to selling records, when it comes to breaking records.
That's a corny ass argument though. And that's what his corny ass fans love to bring up. Great, got it. He dominates because he appeals to such a large audience. Of course, yes, he sells great. Cool. What does that have to do with who's better in terms of the quality, in terms of the lyrical ability? That's irrelevant.
Nobody is standing next to him in hip-hop.
When it comes to that
He
conversation,
simply
it's
dominates on a commercial scale. With all that said, Drake was now celebrating 10 years of Take Care, and he decided to share an old photo of him and Kendrick. And I get it, like, you know, he helped with the project, nice gesture, but why keep doing this? Why keep being friendly to someone who doesn't respect you?
And to keep dissing, that's the thing that I don't respect. If you do want to be on some peaceful J. Cole friendly shit, then stay on that side. And even if Kendrick does decide that he doesn't respect you, he wants to keep dissing you, ignore it. Be like, anyway, I'm over here enjoying my success, and I'm gonna keep making my music for my fans. Do that. Stay over there. But he keeps going back and forth. He keeps, love my brother Kendrick, everything's peaceful, holy, and all that. But then you start taking shots at him in your music. And then you go back, actually, shout out to Kendrick, he's amazing. What?
However, at this point, 4 years have passed since Kendrick had dropped an album, and while he was on a Milk Box Missing, Drake was still very much active, releasing Certified Lover Boy. That album
And he was
went
taking
on
shots
to
about
break
him,
Spotify's
or
record
shots
for
at him
the
on
most
stage.
streams in a single day.
Saying he don't take
And
breaks.
in that same year, he also had some notable bangers like Wants and Needs with Lil Baby.
Come with a classic, they come around years later and say it's a sleeper.
But finally, after 5 fucking years, we get the Kendrick album.
Rain on me, put the blame on me, got killed, got hurt, got
This
shot
album's
on
not
me.
for me.
And sadly, a lot of people did not like this album.
Yeah,
I'm not one of them. I absolutely loved it. I'm also a big therapy guy because I'm bipolar. I don't really have any choice but not be a therapy guy, but this project definitely connected with me, at least. And it was on this album where Kendrick admitted on a song that he didn't understand why Drake and Kanye squashed their beef.
When Kanye got back with Drake, I was slightly confused. Guess I'm not mature as I think. Got some healing to do.
And in my opinion, this is just Kendrick's way of telling Drake that he has zero intentions of ever patching things up with him. And there's people that we meet all the time that we just don't like. Like sometimes it's for no reason at all. And Kendrick's got a reason. Next, Drake gets extra petty by releasing a dance album, Honestly Nevermind, on Kendrick's birthday.
If I come around you, can I be myself?
Drake knows damn well that Kendrick is the last person that would ever release a project like this one, And what better way of saying, look at how versatile I am, than by dropping a project like this on his birthday. Now, I don't think this little stunt bothered Kendrick at all, but it was still pretty strategic from Drake. But Drake was not done yet. On a track with Lil Uzi, he took some really obvious shots at Kendrick.
Ooh,
so
he got a
just
song
a
called
few months
Backseat.
earlier, Kendrick
Oh
had
shit,
very
Backseat
similar
freestyle is my
wording on
shit. I need to
his
download
95
that.
track. Drake is insinuating that Kendrick is more or less
I love
wrong
this song.
when it comes to what he's saying in his music. He's basically
forgot about
claiming that
that.
Kendrick doesn't really stand by or believe what he's preaching, and he also reminds Kendrick that he's the one who put him on. What made this reference even more obvious is the line, "Now you gotta take a back seat," which is clearly a reference to Kendrick's backseat freestyle. And just like me, it looks like Drake
I used to play that song out. See, that's what I'm saying. I keep getting confused. Kendrick definitely has some bangers, okay, that I really, really enjoyed. But overall, you know, he has a lot of very conscious music, and I am not a big listener of that type of music because, again, I'm in the gym listening to music, so I need something to keep me upbeat. I don't want to hear about struggles and therapy and stuff when I'm on the treadmill.
He showed up in the audience at Kendrick's show in Toronto. Again, Drake knows what he's doing. He knows the blogs are going to pick this up. The question is, was he there to show love, or was he there to play chess? I mean, at this point, based on the history of Drake's friendliness, I'm just going to chalk it up to him just trying to be cool with him again. And for Kendrick, what better way of taking 5 years away than by dropping an album and cleaning house again at the BET Awards? Going into the awards, Drake was way ahead of everybody with 14 nominations, but it didn't matter because Kendrick mopped the floor with them, winning Best Hip Hop Video, Best Live Performer, Lyricist of the Year, Video Director of the Year, Album of the Year, and Artist of the Year. However, Drake wasn't very impressed with Kendrick's 5-year delay, and he let everyone know about it while on tour.
I don't know about these guys that go away 3, 4, 5 years, want to chill out, all that shit. That's not me.
And I want to ask you guys this. How many times has Kendrick said something nice about Drake in the last decade?
Never.
0. Fucking 0. It's all been Drake. We've got 7 or 8 examples here in this video of Drake complimenting Kendrick, saying that he wants to do music with him, reminiscing on old times, just being friendly with him. And Kendrick has said fucking nothing. I gotta tell you something.
The guy did a good job.
He did.
He did a good job with that.
It came across my feed.
Good to see it edited correctly.
Here, what's the dirt?
Bitch, I'm about to blow up.
Wow, this video was very well done, okay? Love all of the information, all of the tea, all the details that I was not aware of. It's so interesting that all of these years I've been listening to these songs and, you know, just bopping along to it, thinking that they were taking just shots in general, because rappers usually do that. They're very braggadocious and they talk shit about all rappers. You know, it's usually on some friendly competition, I'm better than you niggas, you know, type of vibe. That's what I thought they were doing. But the whole time they taking shots directly at each other. So this rap beef was bound to happen. It's finally exploded. And I'm here for the shits. I'm just very entertained, okay? I've not been excited about rap in a very long time. So this is all very exciting. But yeah, Drake, fuck out of here. All right, you straddling the fence too much. Pick a goddamn side. I mean, now he has been forced to pick a side, but over the years, he just kept trying to like get back into Kendrick's good graces. If I was Kendrick, I would mention that. Like, you've been trying to make up with me and be my friend for years now. Fuck out of here, you know? But anyway, we'll see what happens from here. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Let me know what other videos you've been watching. I'll see y'all on the next time. Bye!